Britain should go ahead with plans to build what would be the world's first tidal lagoon renewable power project. This is according to a government commission review conducted by former Energy Minister Charles Hendry. The review could pave the way for a groundbreaking project aimed at providing renewable power for 120,000 homes in Swansea, Wales for 120 years. The independent review said the technology could play a cost-effective role in the UK energy mix. Mr. Hendry called for the government to move ahead with a smaller Pathfinder Lagoon project, urging it to build on the work that has already been done for a scheme in Swansea Bay. But he also said the Pathfinder project needed to be operational before there was a move to larger schemes which could deliver low-carbon power at competitive prices. The assessment, commissioned last year amid negotiations on the project, has looked into whether the lagoons represent value for money and how they could contribute to the UK's energy mix in the most effective way. Renewable energy firm Tidal Lagoon Power wants to secure subsidies for a £1.3 billion scheme to build the world's first lagoon power plant in Swansea Bay. The project could provide renewable power for 120,000 homes in Swansea, Wales for 120 years. The lagoon would involve a U-shaped breakwater built out from the coast, with a bank of turbines turned by water which would harness the rise and fall of the tides to generate renewable electricity. The structure would generate energy at high tide and low tide, meaning that water will flow through 4 times daily. The 6-mile wall around Swansea Bay, complete with turbines, could generate electricity for 14 hours a day. While the government has expressed backing for lagoons, former Prime Minister David Cameron said his enthusiasm had been reduced by the costs, with much higher subsidies than nuclear or offshore wind mooted at one stage. Tidal Lagoon Power now says the Swansea Bay scheme would require only the rate of bill-payer support currently offered to nuclear, and because the project was small it would cost households as little as 20p to 30p on average. It would also generate thousands of jobs and boost the Welsh economy while supplying predictable, clean electricity for 155,000 homes. The project includes creating a 6-mile sea reef, the reintroduction of the native oyster to Swansea Bay and an offshore visitor centre, as well as national triathlon and water sports facilities. The company claims the Swansea Bay Lagoon would be a proof-of-concept project, opening the way for a series of lagoons around the coast, costing less due to economies of scale and meeting 8% of the country's power needs. It would save 236,000 tons of carbon a year and 1,850 construction jobs would be created, plus 150 long-term jobs in its operation, the company claims. But conservation groups have raised concerns about going ahead with a series of lagoons before the impacts of the Swansea scheme are assessed. Mr. Hendry said lagoons offer a completely predictable source of power. "We know it absolutely works," he told BBC Radio 4's Today program. "One of the great advantages is it is completely predictable for all time to come. We know exactly when the spring tides and neap tides are going to be every single day for the rest of time, and so, in terms of meeting security of supply, lagoons can play an important role." Mr. Hendry said he had assessed how expensive the project was by spreading the cost of the subsidies over the lifetime of the project. "If you look at it over the cost of that 120 years, then you get a very much lower figure than almost any other source of power generation.